Good morning and welcome back to A Moment of Hope with Upward Transitions. Our special guest today is Maggie Hudson, Volunteer Coordinator with CityCare. CityCare is a fellow United Way of Central Oklahoma partner here in Oklahoma City that has been around since 1996. Is that correct?
Yep, CityCare.
Welcome, Maggie. How are you this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Tell
Glad
us
to
a
be here.
little about the history of CityCare.
Yeah, so CityCare was founded in 1996. A few friends began a breakfast in downtown Oklahoma City for their neighbors who were experiencing homelessness. Many of them shared stories of family trauma and difficulty with success in school. And so that launched us into starting a program called Whiz Kids. And Whiz Kids has been in Oklahoma City since 1996. And we serve hundreds of kids every single year. It's a one-to-one mentoring and literacy support program. And we're in 9 districts all over Oklahoma City. And then from there, we started a supportive housing community. So for 20 years, we've invested in Oklahoma City through supportive permanent housing and those transitioning out of homelessness. And residents have case managers who help them remain stably housed. And then in April of 2021, CityCare embarked and launched the only low barrier night shelter in all of Oklahoma City. So we provide shelter for families and women and men and their pets who are living on the street with clean beds and a pet hotel, a hot meal, and of course, housing navigation.
Oh, that's so cool. So
Yeah.
what does no barrier mean?
Low barrier basically means we try to remove every barrier possible for people and why they're not accessing shelter. So it could be anywhere from they don't have a place for their pet to stay. It could be they don't have an ID, which is a really common one, or they've just really never felt comfortable anywhere else. And so we have that low barrier because, like I said, it is the only one in Oklahoma City where if you don't have those things, or if you do have those things, such as a pet, we can accommodate you.
So there are a lot of people who just don't go to shelters because they have a pet and they don't want to give it up.
They have a pet or they may not have an ID. I know a lot of places they may even run a background check, which is really hard. If you are trying to seek shelter and you don't have identification, you can't possibly have a background check. And so that's something that we've learned through the process of building that shelter. Is we did a lot of research with people with lived experience, and we heard a lot of those similar stories.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Thinking about being in that situation is kind of scary.
Yeah, well, even not having identification, I think, is something that's difficult to think about because for us, it's just kind of normal. Like we just have it on us all the time. But if you're experiencing that and you've been on the streets for a while, it's possible that your stuff is you've either lost it or it's been stolen. Really, there's a plethora of situations you could have been through, but to not have that, then it really becomes a barrier in accessing any services in our city.
Yeah. And that's when we come in.
Yeah, exactly. You guys are an incredible partner in making that happen for our community, which is really awesome.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. I think you guys are so amazing. I was in awe when I got to come do the tour of CityCare. I can't believe all the things you guys do. And I still can't believe it just started with, let's make breakfast for everybody. Let's get everybody.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite things that our founders really started with is this hands open approach of this is what I have. What can I do? And that's kind of where we sit now, is still in that position of our hands are open and what can we do? And really trying to meet the needs in the city that maybe haven't been met or are afraid to be met. We're a little bit taking chances if we need to, especially when it comes to something like a low barrier night shelter. Like that is something we'd never done before. And so to embark on that journey was really just our hands are open and what can we do? And so we opened that, and it's been open for 2 years now. And we've learned some lessons, but we've ultimately had a really great time getting to know that community and serving that community as well.
You guys do a whole lot for the people that you serve, though, as well. I mean, yeah, you give them shelter and you have the no barrier night shelter, but you have a lot of people permanently housed at CityCare. Like, about how many would you say there are right now?
So at Pershing, we have 60 units that are under one roof, which is where you visited. So there's 60 studio apartments, studio efficiency apartments under one roof. And then within the West Lawn Gardens neighborhood, we have an additional 52 homes.
Wow.
112 units of permanent housing. And in that, I think, if I remember correctly, it's since opening, which was 20 years ago for that center, we've served 775 individuals. Just for Pershing, which is really cool. And some of them, because it is permanent, when we first opened, it was transitional, and we said, 2 years is kind of the cap. But what we realized is that we don't want to put a cap on someone's journey of kind of where they're at in sobriety or in finding stability. And so we transitioned it to be permanent supportive housing. And so we have people who are there for a year, or that we have people who are there for 9 years. And so it's just kind of where they're at in their journey. And we really try to meet them where they're at.
So they can just stay until they get it together.
Well, it's awesome because you walk out your front door and you just have friends. You have a community just right out your front door, which is really awesome. And so you have the ability to engage in that community, or you have the ability to say, you know what, not my day today. But they're always there, which is really awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was so nice. It was so warm in there. Everybody had decorated their doors.
Yes.
And you guys let them decide how to redecorate their shared spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous.
Yes. And what's really cool is a lot of our residents, they have backgrounds in whatever it might be. And so they help a lot with those things. So they did a lot of the painting of those common spaces, and just really helping. They love pitching in because it's their home, and they really want to take care of their home and make it feel like a place where they all want to be. So they all pitch in, which is really cool.
Oh, and you guys have, I guess, a computer lab in there. These wonderful computers where they can some Express comes in and teaches them resumes and computers.
And we also, I mean, for a lot of our residents, they might not even have family here. So even just to have that as a home base to be able to connect with their loved ones via Zoom, that was something we really tried to do during the pandemic. But even now, if they have family that's, across the country, they can connect with them. And then if they're looking for employment, like we're always utilizing that space to engage with them where it comes to resume building, or really just looking for jobs too. So
I thought that was so cool. That was something I haven't seen before anywhere.
Yeah. And it's beautiful. Such a cool space.
It's really nice in there. I would live in there. It was nice.
Yeah. I would work in there for sure.
Yeah, and you guys have a really good chef, I understand, who's planting an herb garden.
He is really great. His food is so good, and he honestly so impressive. He does the holiday meals too, and that's a lot of food for a holiday. So you're thinking if you have 112 units, and then you're inviting all of them to be a part of a Thanksgiving meal and a Christmas meal, and he just blows it out of the water. But it's Chef Barry, and he actually lives at Pershing too. And then he cooks one meal a day for our residents. So if they have the ability to, there's a community little like kitchen area where they have donations that will come in that the residents can kind of take as needed. And then Barry makes dinner every night, which is cool. And it's another way to connect with each other, because there's nothing like connecting with someone over a meal. Like that's how, families connect with each other at the end of the day. So
that's really, one thing I noticed on the tour, you guys have a really large, kind of a central yard court area. And do people play games out there? And somebody said something about there being puppies out there.
Yes. Yes. We do have a couple of dogs that live at Pershing. But they're out there. It's a really, really good place for residents to just kind of enjoy and be outside, especially when the weather's nice. We've had a couple of game nights. We've had some rowdy games of cornhole out there. But we're really trying to make it a space where they want to be. And so we've done some planting, we've done some, renovations out there, but they love it. They love hanging out in the courtyard, which if I had something like that at my house, I'd hang out there all the time.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it is. It's a great place to be.
What programs are you offering to them while they're in there?
At Pershing?
Yeah, like rehabilitation or anything?
Yeah, so Pershing is a sober living community. So everyone in there is working on their sobriety journey. And then from there, they're really just working with their case manager on all the things that they need to do, whether it's working still on sobriety or if it's working towards getting Social Security, or we actually just had one of our residents apply and get a job with AARP. And so it's really just kind of depending on their situation of what they're working towards with their case manager.
So everybody has a case manager that's living there.
Yeah.
Wow. For as long as they live there.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really nice.
It is kind of cool.
How many clients does CityCare serve each year on average, would you say?
Yeah.
Like last year?
Yeah. So for 2022, we had 2,066 unique individuals at the night shelter. And then our Whiz Kids program served 541 students in the year 2022 to 2023 school year. And then at the supportive communities, it's 175. So it's a pretty vast impact all over the city, from kids who are in first grade to adults who are working towards sobriety and maybe, working towards an AARP job. It just we really run the gamut when it comes to people that we serve, which is a little unique. So,
well, and what about Mo? Are you guys even able to track how many people get on and off?
Well, what's great is that our guests at the night shelter utilize Mo. So if they're being counted at the night shelter, then they're being counted with Mo. For those who don't know, Mo is our mobile outreach and engagement, and we just started them. They are the cutest little shuttles that are out on the streets, and it's about 2 months so far. And so we have 2 different routes that operate Monday through Friday. And our guests can quickly get from the night shelter to the day shelter to North Care to the South office of DHS, or even to you guys at Upward Transitions. Whereas before, it could take them hours to get there because they would have been walking. And so the shuttle has been a real lifesaver for a lot of our guests, especially with how hot it's been lately. To have that to get them from place to place quickly has been great. But we acknowledge that there's still a lot of people out there who are not seeking shelter and are living in encampments, and they would benefit from what we have to offer. And so the team is going out and finding people who are accessing services and creating just regular touch points with them. So it's not just serving our base, but it's also going out and doing outreach with people who might not be accessing services at all.
Yeah, a lot of our clients here, people that we have come in with a lot of need that have no home, are using Mo, and they're getting a lot of people when it's a really hot day. We'll find out that they can get on Mo and get to one of the shelters. He'll just let them come in for the day because it's so hot.
Yes.
Or get to a food bank.
Whatever
it might be. In our case, you guys added a stop, I guess, at one of the places where people can get their IDs.
Service Oklahoma.
Because transportation's a big problem, even when they're going to get their IDs, when they've been helped to get it, they still have to get from point A to point B to pick it up. And
well, in a story, so one of our Mo drivers actually he lives at Pershing, and he was getting ready to get on the bus one morning, and one of our staff was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I have a doctor's appointment today, so I'm just getting ready to catch the bus." And it was 9:00 in the morning, and his appointment wasn't until 1 p.m. But he had to get on the bus at 9 and just wait until his route got there. He's an older gentleman, so it's not like, it's not that far between the two. But if you're an older adult, the last thing you need to be doing in the Oklahoma heat is walking a couple of miles just to get to the doctor. And so he would just wait and get on the bus. And yeah, I know, but it's been such a cool thing to watch Mo, and to see it live, like in the city, is the coolest thing. Our whole staff every time is like, "There it is." We're all so excited about it.
We are too. You guys stop right in front of us.
Oh, perfect. And they're the most colorful shuttles. You will not miss them because they're so fun.
Yeah, I'm going to get a picture and post you guys' routes on our website as well, I
That's
think.
great. Yeah, the routes are on our website. There's a tab under our programs and Mo's on there. And so we have the routes that we take every day on there as well.
I just think that's just one of the many very cool things you guys do.
Well,
Tell me a little bit about you, Maggie. What is your background? How'd you get in the nonprofit community?
Yes.
What led you to CityCare?
That's a great question. I think from a young age, I always knew I wanted to do something that would impact people. And so I went to college for a year and it was just not my thing. Like I'm one of those people that college is just not really my thing. And so from there, I did an internship at a church and I was in ministry for 6 years. And so I did that for a while. And then I really just felt like, it's time for me to do something different. And so I made that huge change and I bounced around to a couple of things from working in a county office to then doing accounting for a local restaurant in Oklahoma City. But I just knew that there was something that I needed. I need to be able to connect with the work that I'm doing. And so in September of 2020, I decided let's make a career change. So our Whiz Kids team was hiring and I joined the Whiz Kids team in September of 2020. And then I moved into the role as a volunteer coordinator for the agency in May of 2022. So I've been in this role for about a year now and it's awesome. Love it.
Tell me a little bit more detail about what Whiz Kids does, what they experience.
Yes, Whiz Kids it really is an incredible program. And coming from kids ministry, I have never seen a group of more bought-in volunteers in my life. And it's one of the largest volunteer bases in Oklahoma. We have about 800 volunteers just in that program alone. Yep. So if you think it's a one-to-one program, and so if we have 541 kids, we have to have at least 541 adults to be their mentor. And so those mentors work on different mentoring skills, but also literacy. Literacy is a big one for our program because we know that if we're teaching kids to learn how to read, then they're going to read and learn instead of just one or the other. And so just after a year in our program, kids will grow 32 points on state administered tests. And so it's this really cool magic that happens between it's a partnership between us, between schools, and between churches. And so basically what happens is that we will partner with a church and they will recruit volunteers, and then we partner with the schools and we go to specific schools in the city that are maybe in the lower socioeconomical range. And so we partner them with the church, and then we have our staff. And so it's a school, a church, and a nonprofit, and we're all working together to really change the lives of these kids. And what's crazy is yesterday our director told me, she said, yeah, I talked to one of our sites and there's a football coach in the Oklahoma City School District who was a Whiz Kid at a specific site. And so it's just cool to hear like 27 years of this legacy of a program is impacting students now, but it also impacted that student however many years ago. And so to see that, it's just one program, but it really does span an impact of so many people, because you'd think like the kids, yes, are being impacted, but the adults are being impacted just as much. And so we're just starting off this school year. We do Whiz Kids basically from August to May. So we follow the school year. So our sites are starting to kick off now, and then the rest of them will start after Labor Day. So yeah, we're at about, I think, 28 sites all over the city.
Wow.
So yes.
So how does someone who wants to be a volunteer for Whiz Kids, how can they get involved?
Yeah, we have a link on our website. You can do that. You can also email me. My email is maggie@citycareokc.org. I'm also on the website too, if you go to our volunteer tab. But we do require that you have a background check because we are interacting with students. So we want to make sure that they are in the safest space possible. So there's a background check that's required. There's a little bit of training, but we have incredible training videos that we have produced that are you can do on your own, which is really cool. And then we pair you with a site that works best with your schedule and also with your location.
And you'll be working directly with a child? and
What's
tutoring?
awesome, we have different roles. So there's a site leader. So those are just volunteers that are really in charge of partnering the students with a mentor and then making sure all the mentors are kind of getting the information they need. And then from there, we have mentors that are working one-to-one with students. We have food teams at all of our sites. We have transportation teams at all of our sites because we take kids from the school to the church. And then we also have the ability for you to be a substitute. So if you're passionate about working with kids, but maybe can't be there consistently, substitutes are a great area for that.
What's the age range for volunteers? What's the youngest you can be?
So we do allow 16 to 18-year-olds to volunteer with us. We only have to have two forms of two recommendations, either a church, pastor, a coach, whatever that looks like. And then from there, 18 to however old you'd like to be and volunteer with us.
Oh, that's great, because I feel like when you volunteer, and you'll probably agree with me, when you volunteer or mentor, you get so much out of it. Your character grows. You change the person. And I think it's great to start as young as possible.
Well, and also you're also stretched. Like we had a student one time, he had a lot of energy after school. And so his mentor was like, I don't know what to do with this kid. And so their church actually has a gym. So he and his student went to the gym and just walked on a treadmill and rode on a bike, just so he could have some of activity while he was reading. Because that's the other thing that we try. I know that's the other thing we really try to do is meet kids where they're at. And sometimes kids just need a little bit of individualized care. And for him, he just needed to do something while he was also doing something else, you know?
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
You're not going to get that at school.
No, for sure. And his mentor was happy to do it because he's like, as long as I can get him to read, we can walk on the treadmill or ride on a stationary bike for this entire hour, you know?
I'm just picturing entire classrooms full of little kids on treadmills with books in their hands.
I mean, it might work. You never know.
There are a lot of them.
It's like adults. If you have a standing desk and you can just walk on a treadmill, you get your steps in, you're getting your work done.
Blood flow, thinking faster.
Exactly.
Huh. I don't think Perry and I will go for that, but
you could try.
I could try. I can ask. I can beg. What about your other programs? Do you have volunteer opportunities with all the other programs?
Oh, yes. We have a ton, especially when it comes with the night shelter. So we have 2 shifts that happen every day. So our night shelter is open 365 days a year. And so we have volunteer shifts. One is in the morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Yep. 6 to 8 a.m. And then the other is in the evening from 5:30 to 7:30. And so those are hospitality shifts. You're basically in the morning. We make coffee for our guests to make sure that they very much love their coffee. And I don't blame them. I do too. Big fan. So we have coffee in the morning, and then in the evening, we're basically just, if we have a meal available, we're serving a meal, and then getting them linens, helping with the pet hotel, whatever that looks like, whatever the staff needs help with, we'll assist with that as well. And then Pershing's a little different because it is that community. So we do more individualized like volunteer opportunities. And so if your corporate group wants to come in and maybe do like a job training for our crew, and then we have the ability to make welcome baskets for our residents. So if we have someone moving in, to be able to give them a little bit of a welcome basket whenever they move in is really cool. And then with Whiz Kids, we also have a ton of opportunities there too. So we really, again, run the gamut on opportunities for volunteering. So
what about opportunities for giving? I know that there are ways people can donate. What's the best way to go about donating to any of your programs?
For sure. So when it comes to like in-kind donations, like if you're basically when I think about that, I think about the summer and the winter, because those are really the times when people are thinking about our population. So in the summer, if you want to donate water, if you want to donate sunscreen, if you want to donate bug spray, we would love to have that because those go so quickly. But that can just be brought to our office or to the night shelter. And then in the winter, of course, we need scarves, we need hats, we need hand warmers, gloves, all of the things. And those can also be brought to our office as well. And then whenever it comes to like different resources, we have the ability to donate on our website. And so we also have a giving society called the CityCare Collective. And it's true what they say that every dollar counts. So we have donors that give $5 monthly, or we have donors who give $50 monthly. Really, whatever you can give, it truly matters and continues to help us do what we do. But the CityCare Collective, I'm actually a part of it. It's one of the things where I said, I can't expect anyone to do something that I wouldn't do, especially when it comes to giving or volunteering. And so I love serving in our community, and I also love donating to our community because I really believe in the work that we're doing, and I believe in the people that we're helping, because we really are making great change in our community, even if it is just, a little bit at a time.
Oh, you guys make a lot of change. How does someone join the CityCare Collective or get in touch with that?
So CityCare Collective is just donating monthly. So it's as easy as just saying, you know what, I could give up 1 cup of coffee to give $5 a month to CityCare. Or I could give up, I always think about eating out. My husband and I are the worst about eating out. We just get lazy and we're like, let's just go get something to eat. So we could skip one of those nights and give money monthly to the CityCare Collective. It's really just our group of donors who donate monthly, and we share stories with them. We really try to steward them really, really well, because we know that without their impact, we couldn't keep doing what we do.
Is there a website or anything people can go to get involved?
Just our website.
Your website, and just follow the links.
Yeah.
And tell me your website again.
Yes, it's citycareokc.org. .org. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for being here, Maggie. This has been absolutely wonderful. I'm just so amazed at CityCare, and I really love the work that you guys do, and I'm really proud that we partner with you. And for sure. I hope you'll come back and talk to us again soon.
Have me anytime.
And see you at all the United Way stuff that's coming up.
Yes.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in again. It's been another great live stream, and we'll see you next week.